All right, let's get it. Boom! Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit, from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Let's go, baby. This is a brother I'm sure many of you are familiar with. This is my guy right here, just catching up before off camera about some memories that we had from back in the college days. My brother, introduce yourself. What is your name? What chapter are you from? And what semester did you cross?
Yes, this is Emmanuel Chacon, known to many as Manny or E-Man. Those that have known me since the early years. But yeah, I attended the University of Delaware, pledged the Zawadi chapter, fall of 2010, which feels like forever ago.
You are the line brother of Gilbert Vega, one of my previous guests on the show, and the chapter brother of Chuck Bermudez, who was the second to last episode. I think it was episode 8 of the show as well. So you know a lot of the bros that have been on the show. Happy to have you.
Good people on the show.
Oh, I've had some good people. I got legends coming up too, bro. I got legends. I'm cooking.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But thank you for joining me tonight, my brother.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. So listen, bro, you know, like I was telling you before off camera, the whole reason why I'm doing Upstanding Upsilons is to give, the brothers of the brotherhood that I feel are really making an impact out there doing valuable work, sharpening their own swords as men and becoming, the greatest possible versions of themselves. And I know that you're doing an extreme amount of work with the organizations you're affiliated with. You was always a stand-up, funny, charismatic, approachable dude when I knew you back in school. And looking forward to this conversation, giving you the opportunity to tell your story. So let's begin with your early life, bro. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Talk to us a little bit about your childhood.
Bet. Yeah, so I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware, born and raised here. It's a small city compared to every other city, but it is the biggest city we have in Delaware.
Are you in Delaware right now?
Yeah, so I'm back now.
Okay, all right.
Have come back to Delaware as of September.
All right.
This is where I was born and raised. My parents they met each other in Chicago and married in Chicago, and my older brother and older sister, I'm the youngest of 3.
Okay.
Two siblings were born in Chicago, and then eventually made their way to Delaware, which is where I was born. Grew up in the inner city on the west side of Wilmington. The west side is where all the Latino families are. Mm-hmm. So even if you were to go around that neighborhood today, everything's there. The Latin American Community Center, which is the community center I grew up in. All the stores, everything's got like a Spanish name or something on there. But that's the area of the city that I grew up in. So, as many inner city areas, there's a lot that goes on, a lot of things that you're surrounded by. But thankfully and fortunately, I was blessed enough to have a household that it was very different from the environment outside. So as soon as you were walking through the doors of the house, it just felt different. And I think just that support system and just the environment that my parents were able to create within our walls was something that just helped me get to where I am today, and I guess develop that love for the community, develop that understanding and belief in myself, and just knowing that there's a lot more out there. But that's kind of how it's early life. My mom's from Puerto Rico, my dad from Guatemala.
All right.
And like I said, all those early childhood years were spent in Wilmington, Delaware, the transformative, cultivating years, I would say. Think back, and never would I have imagined, like, at that point in time as a little kid just playing outside, to see the things that I want to see, travel, go, or even have the career path that I would have had now. But that's not something you see in that area at all.
Bro, you know what? Like, you had mentioned, the environment that your parents were able to create within the 4 walls of your house in the midst of an area of poverty, or the hood, in the midst of all the chaos going on. I feel like that's very similar to my upbringing. Raised in the South Bronx my whole life in the 90s, like, things were dirty, like, you know what I mean? It was gang warfare everywhere. But somehow I never got swept up in it because of something very similar to what you said, how my parents were able to cultivate a bubble within all of that in the apartment, So when I got home, it was completely different than what I saw from outside. which is why I was kept away from a lot of that. You know, can you talk a little bit about what your environment was like inside the house? You know, the differences between the things that you saw outside and then what you would come home to.
Yeah, of course. So I would say, as opposed to what I saw from a lot of my other peers, it's, you know, people come from single family homes. You know, income isn't, you know, such a high thing in each household. Just a lot of different things. Some people may be dealing with family members that are in and out of the prison system. Some may be dealing with family members that are in and out of the house, like, you know, doing things outside on the corner. And some positive. It was just a mixture of things. I would say for my household now, as an adult myself, and now in a position where I'm establishing myself in a career, to be in a place where I can hopefully support the ones that I love doing what I love. I think back a lot of what I saw my parents do in the environment that they created for me, which was, one, a loving one, like having both of my parents there, them being very supportive in my interests and things that I did. And honestly, just we didn't have the most, but we always had what we needed. And when I think of like the jobs that my parents had or the salaries, you know, my parents didn't make the most money, but it never felt like we were going to be broke, or I never felt like I wasn't going to have a meal on the table. I'm like that. And I'm always able to separate my needs and wants because at a very early age, I saw what my parents did. They made sure that in the household we had what we needed. So financially, the house up the street, or if I saw friends, like their families, they're like trying to, you know, they're spending money on their cars or rims and this and that. Meanwhile, my parents are like, we're going to have this nice, humble car that's always going to work. We're not going to, it maybe doesn't look the nicest, but it's never going to break down on us.
Right.
Inside the house, we have comfortable furniture, nice furniture. It's very clean. One. If there's one thing I know I definitely got from my mom, it's how to be clean.
Facts.
Because if anything is ever dirty, like even now, it bothers me. And
yo,
whenever people would walk into the house, they would be like, yo,
did your parents do the thing that I know is very popular? Would they take one day out of the week, maybe not even the same day, and just use that as the limpia day?
Oh, yeah. I felt like the limpia day always kind of happened throughout, but Saturday morning was definitely like,
yeah. Top down.
You better clean your room.
Yep.
It's like I'm like 6 years old with in my room, like spraying my furniture, index on my mirrors, and the windows, vacuuming. Yep. So it's just a lot of that. And then also my household was very big on faith. So it's a very Christian household. Not where we were. I wouldn't even say that we were religious in a sense, because I think when you talk about faith and religion, it's a lot of different ways that it can be interpreted or the way people perceive how it is. But I wouldn't even say we were like religious or like, I guess, like a sacrilegious family either, but definitely very big on faith and like understanding the word and understanding the word of God and understanding that everything we have is because God has allowed us to have it. So. And my mom always taught us that God, when you can give. Like she always taught us not to be greedy or not think. She was like, we don't have the most, but if somebody needs help and we have something that we can give to them to help them, then do it. So it's kind of just having that sense of community. And I guess all of that came just because of the environment.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, because my mom was also a social worker for 20 years.
So she was naturally empathetic for people and knew how to identify when people needed something. And
so at the time, her office was only like a block away from the house. Yeah. And there were many times as a kid when she wasn't even in the office, like this is at nighttime, people would come by the house and like knock on the door looking for my mom for help, like just advice or things of that. So it was just a very nurturing environment, which is very different compared to everything else, which I'm grateful and thankful for. Because not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets that example. So
a lot of us don't, man.
We definitely weren't a family that came like from money or anything, but I think my parents just were never so concerned on materialistic things, because the money that we had never went to that. Like, yeah, my mom liked certain things to be nice, but it would come in due time. So like our living room furniture started getting upgrades over the years. Like same thing in the kitchen, like certain things started getting remodeled, like the bathroom and things.
Yeah.
It was a very nice house inside in the middle of, you know, the cityness environment. We kept it very clean and like just taking care of what you have. It may not be the most luxurious thing, but if you own it, it's yours. Take pride in it, take care of it.
Yeah, man. Value it.
Yeah, value it and understand that.
That's a reflection of
for it.
That's a reflection of, I think, the value that they had for themselves. You know, the value that they placed on family and the love that they had for you guys and themselves, you know, that inner state of being reflected in their outer world as far as the cleanliness and, you know, things like that.
Yeah, so it was like, I think learning from them and having that environment where a lot of times, a lot of my peers or friends and people that I saw in the neighborhood would get caught up, or people are always like, you're influenced by your environment. So it's like, if you're raised in this environment, you're bound to be influenced and get caught up in that. But for me, I saw all of that around me, and it just never attracted my eye. And I was like, that's what I don't want to be. It was like, yeah, it's here, but I don't want that. So that for me as a kid, when I had, you know, schoolmates that were like, well, it is what it is. This is what's around me. This is all I know. I would be like, this is all I know. I know there's more, and I need to figure it out.
Yeah. Amazing, bro. Amazing. Very blessed, man. Very blessed. So
thank you, man. Thank you.
Coming up in that environment, right? So you're growing up in a nurturing environment full of love. Talk a little bit about your so you spent your entire childhood in Delaware then, all the way through.
Yeah. So it wasn't until my high school years where we moved out of the inner city and we moved to the house where my parents are now. So
okay. Is that more in the suburbs?
Yeah, so we're like just outside. Like my old house is like 10 minutes away.
Okay.
Very different suburban environment, front lawns,
backyard. I don't have that experience, bro. To this day,
you can
have a backyard.
You know, if you forgot to lock your door at night, you don't have to worry about it.
You gotta worry. See, nah, man. Nah, you gotta lock up. You gotta lock all three locks, man. Wow. So you end up making that transition. What was that transition like for you, especially after, you know, and that's high school. So you already did your developmental years and your middle school years in that kind of space, in the city space. When you moved, was it a shock for you, or you was good because you had a strong foundation, or what was that like?
A little mixture of both. Like, honestly, it really felt almost like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow. Like, even though you was only 10 minutes away.
Yeah, it's like, because not only did we move from the neighborhood, but my parents didn't even want to let me go to public school. Because it got bad. Like, our last year living like on 3rd Street, there were like 3 shootouts within a few months span, within that final year of us living there. And it was like, you wake up and and my bus stop was on the same block on the corner. And it's like, you see like shells just laying on the ground as well. So it was like, my parents were kind of like, we need to get out of this environment. Like, it's getting.
You know what thought I just had, bro? And I just want to put it out there and, you know, let you continue. You know, you hear a place like Delaware, and I know for me, you know, Delaware is not the place where I would think that shootouts are happening. Mm. It's my naivete. You know what I'm saying? I've never really been to Delaware except for frat business. Yeah. But, like, you know, growing up and even now, like, when you hear Delaware, you know, you hear New York or you hear Chicago, and, you know, in the average mind, it's like, oh, yeah, you know, shootout can happen there. But you hear Delaware and it's not. And I just wanted to highlight the fact that, right, these experiences that we've gone through, you know, you'll be my 10th interview. These experiences that we've gone through, all 10 of these bros that I've spoken to are kind of like on a more intimate, deeper level. You know, we really have similar experiences across the board, bro, no matter where we at. So it's not even, you know, separation based on differences doesn't make sense, bro, because we go through a lot of the same things. You know what I'm saying?
For real, honestly.
So that was just a thought that I had. Like, you're in Delaware experiencing shootouts, and thankfully, not you and your family remain untouched. But that was just a thought I had, bro. But yeah, go ahead, continue, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great point that you bring up. Because I mean, I hear that a lot too. Like when I've had people come around Delaware, and if I take them around where my family lives now, and then I tell them, oh well, this is where I grew up. Because when I'm back, I still try to stay involved within the community. And go in, because that's the community that raised me, and I know the examples that the younger generation needs there. And I at least want them to see someone and know that he came from the same place. Like he grew up in the same community center,
right?
These same halls, these same streets, and just at least see a positive example out of it. And that's how it was. Like my parents, by that point, like it's high school, so literally like left the hood, sent me to private school. Like that's exactly what happened. So were you publicly schooled until high school? Yeah.
So high school was your first private school experience?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Talk about that, bro.
So it happened like just like that. And it was different because now from being around, I would say growing up, my elementary school and middle school were very diverse. Like you had a mix of your Latino students, your Black students, white students, Asian students, Indian students, cultures like that. A big population of students of color as well. But now in high school, going to the private school, now just a handful of it. So it was just a culture shock because you're used to speaking a certain way, you're used to dressing a certain way, and you never look at it as being different until you're environment where
right. That's just how it is for you. That's how I felt going to school, and this is what I spoke to Chuck a lot about on the last interview. Like, you never look at it as being different, but until you're in a different environment, it's crazy. It's a crazy experience. How did you? I mean, did that throw you off your square to the point of depression and questioning yourself, or were you firmly rooted? Like, talk about how you dealt with culture shock, especially because you got it earlier on. A lot of us. And I'm talking specifically to the young men, that may be going to school in the city until college. Like me, I didn't deal with culture shock until I was already in college, for better or for worse.
Yeah. So that's a great point that you bring up, because I think because of that high school experience is what prepared me when I went to a predominantly white institution.
No doubt.
And granted, now I'm at a bigger school, bigger space. So just because of a greater population of students, I see more students that look like me. So I'm just like, it's a white school, but I'm just like, I'm around more people of color.
Right. I got you.
Different, because my high school is small. My high school was only about 400 students altogether. Like my graduating class was about, I think, like 119.
All right.
So it was a small school, but it was different because there were things that would be said, like people just, granted, it was like during open houses where we dressed in our own way. And at the time, clothes were a little bigger, or clothes were worn a little bigger.
No doubt.
Uniform in the school.
No doubt.
At least in the academic setting or in the school year, we have our uniforms on. But it was coming into orientation and people looking at me like, you're from the 4th Street area, aren't you?
You're from over there.
It's like they're stereotyping, but honestly, they weren't wrong. It's like the answer to your question is like I actually am. I grew up on 3rd Street. So,
Got you.
But it was like that, and then just seeing it. But, it was just different, just understanding things and just seeing how, now I'm in a school where a majority of people it's white students, a lot of Italian students as well.
Did you find your niche eventionally?
Yeah, I would say so to an extent. And not even just a private school, but a Catholic school. So I didn't grow up Catholic either. So like us, every morning you say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we would have like a morning prayer or like that stuff. And we would have like the church, a high school is St. Elizabeth's High School. So St. Elizabeth's Church was right across the street from the school. Our cafeteria was the hall, which is called Grant Hall, which was like the basement of the church, where there's like a stage and like everything, like the kitchen, everything was down there. So we had to walk across the street to the church to have lunch. And once a month we'd have mass.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how it was. I guess it was just those 4 years of just like really trying to find myself in a way and navigating in an environment, which at the time, as frustrating as it may have felt, I think it was very beneficial. I learned small things like how to tie a tie.
Things that you carry with you all the way through.
Yeah, and I guess now I had to really learn how to not let I guess the slang take over my vocabulary. Like being with like different teachers and administrators and navigating those spaces. I had to learn to be a lot more open-minded, just because there's different interests in things, and not that it's a bad thing, but started listening to maybe music or things. I wouldn't say that I ever looked at it as like I don't like this, but at the end of the day, I would be like, I can have an appreciation for it.
Right.
Even if I didn't necessarily get that towards me,
right.
I would try to get that towards other people. Like I never wanted to make anybody feel like they weren't comfortable approaching me or talking to me.
Okay.
But, like, I could never be like that type of guy that bullied people. Because as a kid, there were people that would try to bully me in schools, like at a younger age. But those were different stories. Like, yeah, like, dude, I was small and tiny.
Yeah.
But I was ready for all the smoke. So,
I got you.
So people.
Was that because your father prepared you for that, or you were just a product of your environment, or both? I don't know, or none.
No, I think maybe my siblings, maybe my brother. He was really like a second father figure, because my brother's 15 years older than me, and my sister's 12.
Oh wow.
So
he had lived a whole life before you came into the picture. Already.
Yeah, so it's like when he would take me out as a little kid, sometimes people thought I was his son.
Oh, okay.
At the time, like similar haircut and stuff, and look, even if my brother were to walk in here now, like we do look alike. Like now a little different as I've gotten older, and like like my hair's longer and beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, people used to be like, oh, that's your son, isn't it? Type of thing. But he was definitely more than that.
Oh, all right. And how was that for you? Like growing up under the wing of a brother that you knew was like super older than you. Like, did he always take care of you? Like the older brother experience. So, and the reason why I actually asked that is because, this is another common theme coming through all these interviews. So many young men have no male figure, bro. None. You have a father and an older brother. You know what I'm saying? So, how was that for you growing up under your older brother's wing? Did you feel protected, it was like, learning from him?
Yeah, it was. I think my dynamic was different because my parents are much older in age. Like my mom had me when she was 39.
Okay.
My dad was already like in his early 40s. It's in terms of the generation, I think with my brother, the role that my brother played for me was, I do consider him like a second father figure, but he was somebody that could relate to the times with me. So, like, my parents very heavy with like Spanish, especially my father and stuff. So my brother just kind of understanding. He was a big influence on me in terms of like music and like hip hop and having an appreciation for like certain sounds of music and like reggaeton and fashion, and he made sure to take care of me as well. Like he was the one that would take me to the barbershop and stuff. Like it was always with him in terms of that. So it was almost like I had my actual father that would influence me when it came to my faith and just like as like the head of the household and things like that. And then I had like my brother when it's like now I got a male figure who kind of I can relate to a little more from the
I got you. No doubt.
So that's kind of
out to your parents, bro.
So it was like I would say I think my upbringing probably would have felt and been a lot different if it's like I had no older brother and then I just came along.
Right.
Like I feel like there would be a gap right there.
Right.
I feel like I got an influence from like two very distinct generations in a way. Like my father was in the 40s, and then my brother was like his upbringing in teenage years was like 80s and 90s. So yeah, that's how I look at it. Like I got a strong influence from two very distinct generations, and I think it plays a role when sometimes people see me do certain things and make me think like old fashioned.
Right. And you know, I was just about to say that. Like that was one of the things that I always kind of remembered about you, because my parents had me in their mid-30s, not necessarily late 30s and 40s, but they had me later. And I was just talking to somebody about this. I'll be feeling like I can talk to older folk so much easier than I could deal with like this millennial weird shit going on here, bro. Like I don't feel like this, the 2020s and the 2000s, like sometimes I'll be feeling like, yo, was I really supposed to be born during these times? Like I'll be feeling like I would be much more at home in like the 70s and the 80s coming up in my 20s instead of the 2000s and the 2010s. You know what I mean? I just feel so much more easily connected to older generations, bro. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel the same based on your upbringing?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, I just feel I can kind of just bounce around. Like I don't feel uncomfortable talking to the young generation or like people around my age. But like sometimes when people younger, they get weird around older people. Like I don't. I feel comfortable as well. Like I don't know, because interacting with my parents all the time and just like talking to people. But I guess just a lot of those habits. I call them like old school tendencies.
Yeah.
I call them tendencies because I guess you don't see it as much. But when I see an older person, I try to spark conversation and
no doubt.
Yeah, and I'm like old school. Like even like I've like I've taken people out. Like if I had taken a young lady out or something, and then it's like surprise, like then I'm opening doors. Instead of honking the horn to the car or like texting, yeah, I'm outside. I'm like, hey, I'm outside. And by the time she's outside, I'm at the front door. Like,
right.
It's like little things like that. It's like,
I got you.
That's just how I was raised to see. But I guess it is old school because it's not what you see now.
Yeah, it's not necessarily what you see anymore. I'm influenced by that too in that regard. I definitely see it. Hey, man, listen, for me, it's a blessing to have that influence of the older generation. You know what I'm saying? The tendencies and that, even the manner with which you speak, the inflections of your words. You could tell the influence of, a grandmother or a grandfather or somebody from that generation. It's a good thing, man. And I tell my students a lot too. Like, I also don't have the grandparent experience. I had all of my biological grandparents passed away when I was either before I was born or when I was like 1 or 2.
Same.
And then I had a man who raised my father, who was in my life up until about 5 and 6 years ago. But that's the closest that I ever got to a grandfather or a grandparent experience. So I urge, any bro that's watching, anybody that watches, if you maintain a grandfather connection or a grandmother connection or even a great grandfather, that's untapped wisdom. And I might be romanticizing just because I never had it, but it's just untapped knowledge and wisdom there, man, that you can gain from and absorb.
But I feel the same exact way because it's with my family, my biological. So like my grandfather from my mom's side, so like my mom's dad, he passed away before I was born. And then my grandmother, by that point, like she was already in Delaware from Puerto Rico. Like they were taking care of her here. And I was a baby, and my mom tells me all the time she would like hold me because I came out and she finally had like a grandkid, at least out of my siblings that like looked like her. Because she was a bit more like darker and tan skin. And like my brother and sister are lighter than me. Like I'm the darkest one out of my immediate family. So like when I was born, my mom would say she would always hold me. She's like, oh, like one finally came out like me, like and like hold me and just like look at me and stuff. And,
yeah.
But I was so young, like I don't remember that. Like, I can't remember. And then from my dad's side, they were in Guatemala, and so they passed away like before I was 10. But we only were able to go to Guatemala like one time when I was like 6. And I remember seeing them, but I was so young that, I just didn't know. I kind of just like went with the,
of course, yeah.
like 6 years old. You know, I'm just following my parents and older cousins and stuff. And I look back now, and it's like I know I can't be upset with myself because I was so young at the time. But like, I just wish
you didn't know. You didn't know.
I just wish I had the capacity to. I could have had a conversation with them, or I could have had those. Like when my grandfather. I remember one time my grandfather stepped out the house and came back, and my mom was like, "Where did your grandfather go?" I was like, "I think he left." And she was like, "You should have gone on him." But I'm 6 years old, like I don't know, And I'm like, I always think back because you never know when someone's life is going. And I always look back at that memory, and I'm like, I really wish like 6-year-old me would have just taken that walk, and that would have been like that memory. But like I can't beat myself up, but it's like
you can't.
But
I have the same feelings, bro. Like I can't beat myself up. Like I'm. Let me see. My grandfather, he's alive. My senior year of high school, freshman year of college, sophomore year of college, and I have a certain level of consciousness at this time, and I'm still not having these conversations with this man who was born in the 1920s, bro. You know what I mean? Like he saw a world war, he saw wars, he saw like. World-defining moments and shit, but I also can't beat myself up because I wasn't, I just wasn't at that level. So
it's like things like that. Like I wish, like when people have their grandparents and stuff, like I wish that was something. Like I'm the youngest of my immediate family. My mom's the youngest of all her siblings, and then I'm the youngest of all the cousins from my generation on my dad's side. So honestly, it was just age and time. It wasn't anything that nobody could do differently. It was just the only thing that would have changed that was being born sooner. That's all.
No doubt. Listen, man, I urge any brothers with grandparents, tap into that connection, man. Take advantage of those connections. Take advantage of those, familial bonds because, that runs in the blood. That's infinite. That's a matter of the spirit, You can only gain from those type of relationships. Unless your grandmother beat the shit out of you when she was raising you while your mother was in the club, then I don't know. I can't speak on that. But that's a different story.
Yeah.
Listen, bro, so let's deal with let's go back to high school. The bridge between high school and college. How did you end up in UD? A lot of what I'm asking the guests on the show is, whether or not you had somebody kind of help you through the process. Were your parents aware of the logistics, paperwork behind applying to college, or how did you navigate that whole experience?
Yeah, so for me, I wish, like, same thing now, like, I'm very involved with, like, my nieces and nephews. Like, my oldest niece, she's a senior in high school, so I, like, been trying to help her with her college process as well, now that I'm somebody that has knowledge, and I did work in college admissions in the past.
Yeah.
But for me, the plan, as a little kid, my parents always encouraged college. So although I didn't really know what I was going to study, I always knew that I was going to college.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I'll finish elementary school, middle school.
That was something that was impressed upon you in your mind by your parents?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's something they didn't have. So they were always like, it was never if you go to college. It was like when I was a little kid, they're like, yeah, when you get older.
Got you.
Go to college. So yeah, that was always a thing. My older sister, she went to college first. So my brother, he did go to college for a period, but he didn't finish. My sister was the first one to actually go to college and graduate, and she went to the University of Delaware as well, which shows you a difference in time. So she's class of '97, so we went to the same high school. So she's class of '97, and then I'm class of 2009. My sister, she got a full scholarship to the University of Delaware. So I guess my parents she didn't really have my parents as involved in her college process. My parents started learning more with me because time was different. So my sister would look at my grades and look at how I did in school, and she was like, what are you being offered in scholarships? What's going on? And she was like, you have better grades than me. You were more involved than I was, but you're not getting a full scholarship. So this kind of just shows, like, within like that 12-year span, how much things change, I guess, and like how competitive things are.
For sure.
So yeah, it was just like, but I didn't know a lot of like, I didn't look at colleges elsewhere. Like I didn't look far. Like all I really knew was like what I saw nearby. So I mean, honestly, I only really applied to like 2 schools. I applied to Axel, which I got into, to the University of Delaware. Not just because I was familiar with it because of my sister, but it's a beautiful campus. Like even as much as I've traveled to other places now, I still think the University of Delaware is like one of the nicest campus communities that I've seen. And I was like,
did you not want to go far because you wanted to stay close to the fam, or you just didn't? It wasn't even in your mind to leave.
I think all of it. Like just
right.
My parents are older. Like I just wanted to be close. Like if anything, like, I lived on campus. I could have commuted, but I lived on campus to kind of just have some independence. I just always wanted to feel like if something ever happened, I can easily come home.
Okay. I got you. So then moving to UD, yeah. How was the transition?
So I would say, I feel like my family moved with like we had a slight game plan. Like once I hit my junior year of high school, that's when, as a family, we started thinking like, okay, how are we gonna make college work type of thing. So my mom, like when I say this was a game plan, this was a game plan. So my mom, she was like, okay, how are we gonna get you to college? How are we gonna afford college type of thing? How are we gonna get you through college with the least amount of debt? Figure this part out. My mom, the office she used to work in, one of her past coworkers was now a supervisor in this department for the early childhood and disability center at the University of Delaware. So they had an opening for a position. So my mom interviewed. I remember all of this vividly. Like she went through several interviews and she made it past each round. And at the end, it came down to her and this other candidate. And the reason she applied to the position was honestly the main goal. She was like, if I work there, it's under the University of Delaware. You don't have to worry about tuition.
So if she worked there, you would go tuition free.
Yeah, so she applied to that position so that I could go to school tuition free.
Mother's love, man.
Yeah, so I'm glad she did because it was an increase in everything, like different environment for her. She got to do things that she liked, pays different, and then
so she got the job.
Yeah, so she ended up getting the job.
Wow.
That's what it was. So it was like once senior year came around, it was like unless you get a full scholarship somewhere else, University of Delaware it is because I beat free tuition.
Yeah.
Anywhere else. So that was kind of like that was the game plan of the house. Wow. Granted, I didn't know as much about college admissions and scholarships and financial aid the way that I do now. Where I'm able to help somebody else because my family, we didn't have that knowledge then. So who knows if I would have known or if we would have known the things that I know now, maybe, I could have applied somewhere. And who knows, maybe if I would have applied somewhere on the West Coast or down South or something. But, everything happens for a reason. And
Yes, sir.
I can't beat myself out. We just didn't have the knowledge. All we had was the schools in Philly, the University of Delaware, and Upstate. Which is it's the HBCU we have here in Delaware. And then when my mom getting that job, it was just like UD it is. So wow. It was just like all I need to do is get accepted.
Look at how that worked out, man. That's crazy.
So once I got accepted, she started filling out the paperwork she needed to fill out for tuition remission.
Yeah.
And then that hurdle was taken care of. We got over that hurdle. Okay, now getting into college.
Crazy. So now you're in. You get accepted, right?
Yep.
You're in. You get accepted. Now you move in, and then what? Like, is your mother emotional because her boy is staying, even though he's 10 minutes away, even though he's a small amount of distance away, but her boy is now living separate? Then was she emotional about that? My mother was a little emotional about that. Now I'm 2 hours away, so it was just a bus ride away. But my mom, things got emotional at the goodbye. But in my mind, I'm like, damn, like I'm only 2 hours away. But at the time, I also understood why she was emotional.
Yeah, because it was like for me, like I'm the last one.
Right.
So I know it was emotional because even I remember those first few days and few weekends, like already being on campus. Like I remember my mom was like, "It's so quiet at the house. Like I keep like you and your friends are gonna walk in through the door."
Yep.
And so things like that. But of course, they're happy for me because now your child is in college and is in an environment where the opportunities to grow in a career path that I want can begin to develop. And
Yes.
This is it. Like once I get this degree, from there everything is up to me. Like if I decide to continue my education or build my career, so like all these things that I want to do in life, once I complete this step, I have the power to do.
Got you. So talk a little bit about when you get to school, talk a little bit about, and I'm just kind of, I'm going through it here because I don't want you to, I know you're on a time crunch, but
that's all good. It's all good.
All right, bet. Talk a little bit about your experience with LSU, or like your exposure to the brotherhood, and then how you end up getting involved there.
Yeah, so my time at UD was, man, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just so much. Like, it was a challenge. Like, I didn't struggle academically at all, like K through 12.
Right.
Fifth grade year. That was a hard year. Fifth grade was hard for whatever reason.
Fifth grade?
Fifth grade was
fractions, bro.
Yeah, fifth grade. It was hard. But once we got past fifth, like kindergarten to fourth, cool. Fifth grade was just like I don't know what it was, man.
That's
like,
funny.
We were all trying to figure it out, and then 6 to 12, we were back on track.
We were good. All right, but
and then like once we got to college, it was just like it was just different. Like I don't know, it was just I was exploring what do I want to study. I didn't know what I wanted to study. Like the goal was just to get to college, and I'm like, I don't know. There's so much to choose from. I don't know what I want to do. Like I always thought because of the environment I grew up in Wilmington, like, I just wanted something that would put me in a position to make money for my family and for myself.
Right.
And I think that was partially a mistake that I made. I focused too much on trying to do something that sounded good or had a good job title or label to it and could make money, as opposed to at that point in time trying to focus on what I actually enjoyed. And I think if I could go back and do it over, I would focus more so on my interests at an earlier age, which I feel like I found my path a little later. But I think certain things could have been achieved a lot sooner.
But like you said, everything happened for a reason, precisely when it was meant to.
Yeah, so it was like that. So I was like, I remember I ended up going into business. I was like, I went in business and declared, and then I declared finance because I was like, I can make some money here. And I realized math and I were not friends.
Yeah, me too. I realized the same thing, bro. I took a statistics class my first week.
Oh my gosh.
Like, man, what are you talking about? I dropped that class so fast, bro, and I didn't end up taking my math requirement until my senior year.
But statistics and I were like a battle.
Terrible.
Forever.
Not me. I'm good, bro. I'm a performer. I'm good. I don't need to know about inverse fractions. I'm good on that, man.
Yeah, still was like stuff like that. And then so I ended up switching my major to marketing. My brother had said, "Why don't you study marketing?" Because as a kid, I was in the lunchroom. My parents would pack lunch for me. And I'll come back home, and my parents were like, "What did you eat for lunch?" And it was nothing that was packed for me. And my brother and my sister and my parents would be like, "How did you eat that when we packed this?" And I said, "Well, I sold what you packed for me, and I went into the lunch line and bought more food."
Very nice. Very nice.
I'm eating more than what was packed for me.
Very nice.
Like you're doing this all the time. Like you might as well just.
Where did you get that from, bro? That entrepreneurial tendency? Were people hustling like that in your family, or that was just something that occurred to you, or what?
I mean, not that I know of, but it was like I think it started with like maybe one day during lunch I had like a snack, and people were like, "Oh, I'll buy that from you." Like I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna give it to you. Like it's my food." And they're like, "Oh, well, I'll give you this much for it." And then it was kind of just stuff like that. And I was like, "All right." Gotcha. I was like, "Well, who wants to buy this?" And it's like, "Okay, buy this. All right."
Nice.
50 cents. So 50 cents here, 75 cents there, 50 cents, blah, blah.
Love it.
Go back. At that point in time, $2 in the lunchroom gets you a whole entree.
Yeah. So, we used to have vending machines in the cafeteria. I know what you can get for $2, bro.
But
over there.
Yeah, so that's what it was. And I mean, I studied Latin America. I did look into like Latin American studies and enjoyed those classes, but I would have completely switched my major.
Yeah.
They're doing marketing.
Got you. Okay.
At least with marketing, like even now, like people are always like, as a dancer and everything, people are like, oh, so you graduated and did nothing. So you graduated with 1 degree and now you went into a career path that has nothing to do. And I'm like, no, actually, no. So I was like, I did marketing is because it's not like I don't have to work for a corporate office in the marketing department to market something.
Right.
It's me understanding it can be a physical product, it can be an idea or a service. But my job as someone who understands marketing is I need to understand what I'm trying to communicate to people, understand who my demographic and my audience is, and how I can present
how to market that idea.
Yeah, exactly. And how I can portray myself and understand my audience so that I can get my point across. I use marketing in everything, in my dancing, in my videos, as a student on campus with LSU. And when we did events, like I never just did events just because I was like, I think my success as a brother, as an undergraduate brother, didn't come from me just planning random events. I was like, what's going on campus? What do I want to address? If it's a serious or a fun event, if I want to plan something social, what's something social that we're lacking on campus? What do the people want? What do the people need?
Right.
To? This is what I'm trying. This is the question I always tell people. Who are you helping? That, and I think that's the biggest thing. I think when it comes to success is what's the need that you're trying to help.
Gotcha.
And you begin to answer that question, whether it be LSU, professional careers.
So I want to highlight what you said, right? Because we may have brothers watching or prospective members watching. That's a good question to ask when you and your chapter brothers are sitting in the dorm trying to figure out what to do. You start with that question. Who needs helping? And when you said that, my mind also clicked on who needs to be entertained if you're going to throw a party.
Yeah.
What need are you filling? That's a great question to start with so you can begin to backwards plan your event. Free game.
Exactly. So, that's exactly it. Like, I was like, we don't just plan things just to plan them. Like, what do the people want? What's going to capture their attention? Like, how do I need to design this flyer for it to catch someone's eye? How do I need to speak at an event that's going to capture people? Because I always tell people now, like, if I'm on a microphone and I'm speaking, everyone needs to listen. Like, that's how I look at it. So even when I am around undergrads now, where if we're at a meet the Greeks, when I come around and I try to support the younger brothers at meet the Greeks or something, I'm listening to the other organizations. I'm like, do you hear all this chatter going on? I'm like, when you step on the microphone, everyone needs to listen to you.
Right.
Like, everybody needs to know you. So I actually did it this past semester at Villanova because that's a new chapter. They started spring 19.
Shout out to those brothers. What's the name of the chapter?
Bangu chapter.
Bangu. All right. Shout out to the Bangu chapter.
And so those I like them. Those are call them my stepsons. But yeah, there's a good group of guys, 2 from the founding line, and then there's solo in the fall. But they had Meet the Greeks, and I went, and one of the brothers there. And if he watches this, he'll know this story. Enrique.
Shout him out. What's his name? Enrique
Rosado.
Shout out to that brother Rosado. Hit me up. Come on the show, bro.
So he noticed it. I did it at their Meet the Greeks, and I was just like, everybody's presenting, and I'm like, it's too much chatter going on, and each organization has something special to offer. And I'm like, when you speak of your organization, you should speak of it in a way that makes people want to listen. Not that you're commanding everyone to be quiet and shushing them, but what you should say, you should speak of your organization or whatever it is that you have with so much confidence and passion.
Bro, and just knowing that you speaking from the soul, from the heart, like people are moved by that automatically, bro. I feel what you're saying 100%, bro.
It should be, and like my IG bio says, passion and purpose. Like when you speak, you need to have purpose and you need to have passion behind it. And when you do that, you will captivate people's attention. And then I don't need to sit there raising my voice or speaking loudly, which is probably why when I speak, I have like a very chill demeanor. And it's because like, I don't need to raise my voice or be loud to get my point across. It's like when I speak, I'm going to say what I genuinely feel or what I know. So that's what I told him. I was like, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I want the campus to understand that you're the face of the chapter. Like, this is your chapter. I said, once you say what you need to say, I was like, pass me the microphone. And that's what I said. I said, trust me. Just pass me the microphone. I want you to see this. And that's exactly what happened. I started speaking about LSU. I started speaking and saying certain things about what we stand for, like the culture, the organization, because there were some shots and shade being thrown across the Greek shade.
Was it friendly fire or was it salty fire?
Petty fire.
All right. Friendly fire is that's just healthy competition to me.
I was just like, I know I'm a little older. I said, but if people let me petty, I said, let me handle this in the adult way. And I was like, I'm not going to throw shade at nobody. I'm just going to speak on my frat. And that's exactly what happened. Like when I spoke, when I tell you that chatter was not, like when I tell you I had the attention of the room,
right?
It was it. And that was the example I was trying to give him. It's like, you need to have confidence in yourself, and you play for a reason. So if you pledge, you have an understanding and there's a passion behind the brotherhood that you have, because you have that passion is what drove you to get here to begin with, and that passion is what kept you steady throughout the process as well. Because nobody's forcing you to stay here. You can leave at any moment. So it's like, if you're here, speak with that passion and purpose.
Might as well. Yep.
Carry you through the steps to get to this point.
No doubt.
People speak to you. Let people don't have people just hear you. Make people feel you.
Say that again.
Don't make people hear you. Make people feel you.
Free game, Neos. Free game. Bro,
I feel like I should put on like a TV
I'll fall back into that mode. Hold up. I'll fall back into that mode very quickly.
I got my lanyard.
Hold on now, goddammit. I get back into the mode.
Hold on.
Oh shit! We gotta get the power mode. Hold on.
Back in.
Hold on. Where's my other?
It's somewhere.
Where's my other one? It's in the room. Hold up. We getting into power mode?
Oh, found it. we might as well.
It's happening. This is funny.
Might as well.
We might as well. You know what I'm talking about? I love it. Listen, no, but this is real though. Like, this is funny, but this is real. This is the pride that, this was one of the things that really drew me in when I came around, when I first saw it. It was the pride, with which a lot of these guys would wear the letters. And, they say don't wear the letters or don't the letters don't make you, you make the letters kind of thing, But man, I just realized that there was a certain pride that came with being affiliated with these letters and these colors. And I was like, damn, I never had anything like that. I wasn't really into the athletics or anything like that. And, this is very real. So when I put this on, I got these things hanging on my walls. Like, this is a daily reminder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very powerful. And what you're saying is absolutely correct, bro, about speaking with the passion and the purpose. Like, I like that. Make people feel you.
It's the same thing. Like I always tell the younger brothers or the younger generation of people, it's like that same thing that we're trying to instill into guys, whether it's through the pledge process or mentoring people through some organization. We always say these things and we tell them, listen to what we're saying, because at the end of the day, it's all life lessons.
Right.
Just having that purpose, having intention.
So how did you get exposed and involved into the world of LSU?
Yeah, so what introduced me to Greek life was my older sister. So my older sister, she also went to the University of Delaware, and she pledged Chi Epsilon Sigma.
All right.
So she's spring 98. So she's a little older. Like when she pledged, there were only 13 chapters. But,
all right. So very early on.
Having that exposure. So once I got to UD, like the sisters, the cousins that were there, they called me their little brother. and took care of me in a sense. And then they had an agenda that I was not aware of, but they were purposefully introducing me to LSU.
Got you. I got you.
There.
You were groomed. You were groomed.
Yeah. But even then, like the brothers never forced themselves upon me either.
Yeah.
When I first got to campus, like Chuck was one of the first people I met.
Shout out to my guy Chuck. Amazing interview with that brother.
Yeah, like because at the time the chapter was just Brian had just graduated.
Right.
Just crossed the semester prior to me coming in, so it was just Chuck and Mikey on campus, and Brian had just graduated. So the Zawadi was still very young and still had from that point, from like 2006 to 2009, just had 3 solos that had crossed up. Even then, so I had met them. There was another organization on campus called Campus Alliance de la Raza, and a lot of people were involved in that as well. And so were Chuck and Mikey, and they had a mentor-mentee type of program, and Chuck became my mentor from that. But even then, like they never pushed LSU on me.
Right.
Like I think once people on campus started seeing that I was hanging around them and like getting tight with them, they were like, "Oh, well, we know who the next solo is gonna be."
Yeah.
But even then, like it was never forced upon me.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Chuck and I started hanging out a lot. Like Chuck, as my mentor of La Raza, he helped me out a lot, like understanding the bus schedule on campus and like where I can get academic support and help and stuff like that. And then,
side note, man, the spirit moved me. It compelled me to say this, man. If you're a bro, and you see, another young Latino, Black or brown brother on campus, like reach out, man. Even if your intentions are not necessarily to get them affiliated with the org, like the shit really does go a long way, man. It's because you don't know where that young man is coming from. Like, you don't know what type of environment he's coming from. He might be feeling lost. He's going through the culture shock. Like, reach out, man. Lend a hand. Just ask. Be like, yo, is there anything I can do for you? Can I help you understand something? It goes a long way, man. Goes a long way.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real. Because I think that's one thing that I respected so much of the brothers at the time is that they were never shoving LSU down my throat. Like I went to LSU interest meetings because I wanted to go, not because they told me to go. Or it was like, yo, you should come. Like it was never forced on me. But it was like even that, like those little things, like you said, like help if you see like a freshman or a younger guy on campus, whatever, struggling, like step in and help. Because that's what it was. Like Chuck noticed I was walking everywhere, and he was like, yo, why are you walking? I didn't know how to read the bus schedule.
Right.
It was like little things like that. And then, from there, I started meeting other people as I got involved and started making friendships with other people on campus. But they always told me to do my research. So when it came to LSU, they always told me to do my research. And I honestly did my research on everyone, like everyone that was on campus, from the NPHC to the Latino organizations we had on campus to organizations that we did not have on campus. All of that, because I was like because I always thought at the end of the day when I make a decision, I want to know who everyone is, whether they're on campus or not, so that I can never be in a position where I'm like, damn, I didn't know they existed.
Right.
So like I
just be as thorough as possible.
Yeah. So I was like, when I decide, like, you know what, I think this is the organization that fits me. It's like boom. And then I think from there it wasn't even I think LSU was right for me. I was like, at this point, I've seen everything I need to see. And it was a lot of things. Like it was a lot of things from a national. Like I saw how the brothers conducted themselves at the time. Like traveling with them. Even as an interest, I was traveling with the brothers to different schools when I could, and seeing competitions and parties and meeting other brothers, meeting other interests at other schools that would potentially, go through the process with me as well. So building those.
Good life, man. It's a good life if you're blessed with that opportunity, bro.
So it was just all of that, and then just seeing LSU. I think in terms of what I valued in life, from like having a cultural understanding, and then I just feel like the mission of LSU was very in line with the way I viewed life, and in terms of what I wanted to achieve in life, or in terms of the impact that I wanted to make.
Right.
And I was like, this is what the founders created. This is why they created it. This is what inspired them to create it, and then seeing like the cultural emphasis that there is and developing that cultural awareness and understanding among each other. I just valued that, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want. I was like, this is a place where I have a lot where I know I can contribute, and this is going to be something that has a lot to offer and contribute to me to grow. And the more I grow, and the more that LSU allowed me to grow and gave me resources and put me in connection with certain individuals that allowed me to grow in many different areas of my life, I was able to also contribute that back to the
That's what's up, man.
organization.
That's what's up. And I know that Zawadi has left such a legacy on UD's campus, you know, and continues to leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? So commend you for that. I congratulate you for that. You know, some of my best memories as an undergrad brother was traveling to Zawadi, man. Traveling to Zawadi. I loved it. Even when I was online, we go to Zawadi, let's go. Like, it was always it was just fun for me, man. It was always a good time, you know. But let's shift a little bit, bro. I want to talk about the work that you're doing with in your career. Because I know that that's what a lot of brothers know you for. Yeah. I know that you did a lot of strolling as an undergraduate brother. That's something that, you know, I always saw you stroll. I was like, damn, that boy can dance, you know? And I always thought about that. And I know you're doing a lot of work in that regard. So kind of talk a little bit about, you know, your career currently and, you know, the things that you're working on, how you got involved. And let's build on that for a little while.
Yeah, so I know the reason I'm so passionate about LSU is because LSU is what influenced my career path. If I would have LSU, I would have never met.
Say that again. LSU influenced your what?
My career path.
Ouch. Ow.
Because like honestly, if I would have never pledged LSU, I would have never met Jay Romeo. And Jay Romeo, I call him my dance dad. Like, never met Jay Romeo and connected with him.
Shout out to Jay Romeo. Never met him personally, but heard a lot about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never known that dance could be a career the way that it has become. So it's like once I pledged and I made that connection with Jay Romeo, and I don't know what he saw in me, but he saw something in me and started just allowing me to travel up to New York City and shadow him, and he would put me on certain projects and gigs to dance, and like, he would let me be his assistant if he had to hold an audition for an artist. And, you know, I would be his assistant, like collecting headshots and resumes and recording the audition videos. Like, just a lot of things over those years where I would go back and forth and just like was mentored a lot by him. And the more I got to connect with him, that's honestly like, and seeing him and how he treated his dance career. And the entertainment industry can be very cutthroat, but it's filled with a lot of unnecessary drama, emotion, and pettiness. But what I admired about Jay Romeo and what I saw is because I've never been someone that's been involved in stuff like that, but I saw how, despite how this industry can be and how crazy like the entertainment and artist industry can be, how he kept his composure at all times. It was always very humble, but crazy talented. Saw how he conducted his business. Very professional. So he just really set a good example for me that I was like, okay, I can do this and I have to change who I am. And I can make money off of it. Yeah. So just like all the advice that he gave me. And I was just like, you know, it just got to a point, the moment I can tell you the exact moment I knew I wanted to dance full time. It was an opportunity, again, because of Jay Romeo, with an artist in New York City named BB Bronx, and he was going to be featured on It's the Morning Show. Is it on Telemundo or Univision? But it's called Un Nuevo Día.
Okay.
But, you know, that's like we're like on international TV at this point. Like, this is Univision Telemundo on the morning show. Like, whoever tuned in that morning, like,
saw you.
And it's like being on the set, and you know, I'm not the artist, I'm dancing background, but like seeing the cameras and everything going and like hearing the people, it's like what I felt in that moment in time, like that feeling, I was like, yep, this is it. Cause it was like, I felt like free at that moment. Like I wasn't thinking about what's going to happen after this, what's going to happen before. Like I was really like, when people talk about enjoying the moment and like living in the moment, like that's what I get from dancing. And that's when and then like when I saw the cameras like rolling, and I'm like, there's like thousands of people that are seeing this right now. And although I'm not the main artist in this particular situation, because I'm starting out as a backup dancer at the time, it's like it's so much impact here.
Right.
And so it was just like that. I was like, I want to do this full time. And that's where it happened. So my goal was always, how do I get to dance full time? So when I was graduating from school, I was admitted into Teach for America. I had gone through the interview process for Teach for America. And my placement, I was supposed to move to Chicago.
So you knew that you could have potentially been working with young people.
To teach early childhood education.
Right.
Yeah. So but when I had that moment, I was like, yeah, I knew, honestly, I withdrew from Teach for America because I knew there was more that I wanted to do. A few months later down the line, I ended up getting a job in admissions at Cabrini. Well, it was Cabrini College, now it's Cabrini University, just outside of Philly. So I started working there, but then I started taking classes in Philly. So it was like I go from the office in town in Philly to either take class and start networking. And I was like, I need to figure out how to make this full time. And I did that for about 2 years until Step Africa, the opportunity to audition for Step Africa came up. And I drove down. I remember it was a Saturday. I was living in my apartment in Philly with my roommates. And I was like, yeah, I'm about to drive down to DC today. I'm going to go to this. And I went. And a few months later, I got the call back. And although I was a little hesitant at first, my brother, he got real with me again. Because I guess like it was about the money at first. I was like, I'm going to leave. And it's like a little less money and this and that. I don't know. And he was like, so you've been praying. So you've been telling me that you want to dance full time. You've been praying for an opportunity to do this. You go audition and now you got it. And you're telling me you don't know. Once he said that, I was like, yeah,
never mind. I'm going.
And that's what it was like. I was like, I grinded out, throughout my undergrad. I got the opportunity because of J. Romeo, like doing things with him outside of LSU, having LSU as an opportunity, as a platform to not only market the fraternity and represent it in like competitions and showcases and winning, but also develop my skill sets as an artist.
Right.
Continuing to try to refine and develop my skills where I can throughout Philadelphia, even still connecting with J. Romeo until I finally had an opportunity to kind of branch out. That's all. And that was one thing that I appreciated J. Romeo. Just, he was like, all I ever wanted was for you to learn how to eventually, fly on your own. And then, I've reached that point when it came to Africa. That was the first time I got to do something that was just me. Like, now nobody had to call them or put in a word for me. Like nobody even really knew that I was going. So it was like I literally showed up to this audition, gave everything I had to offer, and like did that on my own. Like I booked it on my own. Like Step Africa was me.
Let me ask you this: can you give the people a brief snapshot of what Step Africa is and what they do?
Yes. So Step Africa is the first professional dance company in the world dedicated to the art form of stepping. But we also would do South African styles. So primarily in the Step Africa show, you see stepping, South African Zulu, South African Gumbo. It's a company that's been around since 1994. This year, celebrating 25 years.
Congrats.
Based in Washington, D.C., but it's a touring company. So we would tour all throughout the U.S. and around the world. As well. So I spent 3 years with Step Africa. So audition 2016 and I was in it up until 2019. And I continued to perform in my 3-year span in 41 of the 50 states. And I've gotten to go internationally to like Canada, Chile, Jordan, Ukraine, Croatia.
Wow, bro.
Ghana, Benin, I think I said Bahrain. Where else? I feel like I'm leaving out some places, but you get the idea. So
we get the point, bro. We get the point, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just a blessing because I was like, I didn't think full-time dance would have become such a thing. But then again, like I said, LSU is what influenced that, because LSU not only introduced me to the man that mentored me and had that impact on wanting to pursue something that I came to realize was a passion for myself. Then it's Step Africa. So of course the fraternal background with stepping kind of got me to that point. And Step Africa is one of the top 10 African American owned dance companies in the US. And I have been the first and only Latino in that company.
Get out of here. No shit. Really? A half Boricua, half Guatemalteco. Yo, that's amazing.
The first Latino and still the only Latino to have come through the official cast. Not the first one to audition. Just made it.
If y'all listening at home, clap.
I'm in the archives.
Clap right now, goddammit. Clap. Nah, all jokes aside, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. Yeah, facts. Pull all the shit back out again. Listen, man. That's, for me just hearing that, that's very inspirational, man. Very inspirational. And I know, a lot of young cats watching you that you may have worked with in the past. To see a Latino up there on the main stage with our beautiful black brothers and sisters, that's, it's amazing, bro. Amazing. Congratulations, B. Congratulations on all of your successes. You know what I mean? So what are you into these days?
Yeah, so in 2019, it was probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make because, I enjoyed my experience with Step Africa. Like, it wasn't anything. I didn't leave because it was bad blood or nothing, but I made the decision to leave simply because I felt it was time for me to build my own thing and my own brand. And the whole goal is to build longevity. And in the dance world, there's a lot of dancers, and what I always tell my younger friends when I see them dancing throughout the city or guys that I meet now, it's like, it's a lot of the people that you see on Instagram that are dancers, a lot of these famous dancers, a lot of them don't have the money that you would think they have. So I always try to help guys understand the business standpoint and logistics of it.
Right.
So that's what I did. I was like, Step Africa was great bachelor money, but I knew at some point I'm going to settle down and I'm going to want to have a family, and I need to take time to build something so I can be in a financial position where I'm going to start doing what I love to do. So that's what I left. I left because I also felt like I learned a lot, not just as a performer and as an artist, but just understanding how a company of that caliber operates, and at least having a better understanding and how they fund themselves and donors and networks and contracts and just a lot of the logistical things that I got to see. So I honestly I felt ready. Like, that's how I felt within myself. I was like, it's time. Like, I don't have doubt at this point. And that's what I've been doing, just building my own brand. And I've been connecting with 2 other gentlemen. So it was 4 of us right now, and 3 of us are spearheading the group. But it was like Izzy from Diamante chapter, and like Schwing or Jonathan Pena, who a lot of brothers know is Schwing from Siguayo chapter.
All right. Shout out to those brothers.
Most notably, I guess a lot of brothers know them for Rebels and the white boots and stuff. And then we have a friend, Freddie, that's also up in the New York City area. But started, like, I had this vision for a group, and the name we've been going by is La Cultura.
Say it again. What is it called?
La Cultura.
All right.
So that's what we've been working on now, is just building ourselves. And, we have our logo. Now trying to take the steps to officially being a legal entity and incorporating ourselves and trademarking certain things. But it's just, we're trying to build like our own movement. Like I said, everything is just about the culture. And we focus a lot on urban Latin culture and hip hop and things like that. But the motivation behind this was being a part of Step Africa. It was such a beautiful thing, and I would see how, like, younger kids would see it, and anybody who's, like, of the African American community, I would see the impact. It's like, even little kids, it's like you're looking on stage and like, wow, like, that's my people type of thing.
No doubt.
Being a part of it, but it also made me think and reflect back, like, as a young Latino or as a kid, was there anything I could look at from an artistic standpoint that had me like, oh, wow, like those are my people type of thing. And that's what I'm trying to do is just create that space where like
Toni Morrison said, if there's a book that you want to read that has not been written, you must write it.
Yeah, that's facts.
And what we talking about is not a book, but if there's something that you want to see that you wasn't exposed to, that you wish you would have had, or that you wish you would have saw, you got to be the one to do it. You don't have to be the one to do it, but like it makes sense in my mind for you to be the one to do it. And that's what I hear you saying.
Nah, that's real. So I guess that's the best way to put it. I'm writing that book right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so
bro.
That's what it is. You know, just we're really trying to take 2020 as a year to just really, I would say my word for 2020 is consistency. I was like, we have the knowledge there. We have the resources. Now we just have to be consistent and keep applying pressure.
So you spoke before I could even give you the wrap up word. Usually I ask my guests to leave the people with a little something. Whether or not it's a prospective member, whether or not it's a neo, whether or not it's an older alumni brother, to leave them with something. You know what I mean? And your offering is consistency. Why be consistent, bro? Why be consistent, man?
Yeah, man. It's like so now that I've left Step Africa, so I've been self-employed since I've left Step Africa. Like, I didn't have a clear idea how I was gonna do this. When I left, I was like, well, I can't leave this position where I'm enjoying it and hop in another. I was like, the point of leaving is to dedicate more time and energy. But like somehow I've been able to figure it out until now. So I just been like teaching, doing my own workshops, traveling, and things like that, but just trying to build it a lot more for 2020. Like I said, just building consistency. And the reason I say consistency is so that we can have longevity, because that should always be the end goal in whatever your interest or passion is. Like, I don't always think of what am I making this day or what am I making this month. I always think, what are the actions that I'm doing now that's going to benefit me 10, 15, 20 years down the line? Like, is I'm building now going to be something that's going to be able to sustain myself and my future family. So that's why I say, like, we gotta. So I always say the knowledge is there, like with technology and everything, like the access to information. I can market myself. Like I can create my own flyers. I have
no doubt
on social media.
No doubt.
I have spaces. I have the ability. I have the knowledge. If I don't have the knowledge, we have Google. We have libraries. Like everything is there.
Love what you're saying, bro. Keep talking.
It's just a matter of doing it. Like that's the biggest thing. Like if there's anything that has frustrated me over the past with anyone, anything, or even within LSU, like everything ain't always perfect. Like I'm gonna be real. Like LSU has every family has its own frustrations. Like everything ain't always perfect, but nothing's gonna be perfect. But it's okay because that's how you learn and you grow.
Yes, sir.
So, but that's all I always say is just what's ever bothering me is just maybe just been like lack of efforts, and stuff isn't hard. Stuff isn't hard, and it's just as long as you put effort and you put consistency through it, and same thing, like, and it doesn't mean something's impossible either. Like things may take a little bit more time, but we can all get it. Difficult never meant impossible. So to keep applying pressure, consistency. If you want it, just be consistent. Just keep going for it. Just keep building. Just keep stacking it. Boom, boom. Each day, each week, each month, just do what you can right now. And I've had to teach myself that a lot, especially now leaving a position where I was comfortable instead of now building something on my own. It has its frustrating days. There's been days where I've like been so frustrated that like my head like is just physically hurt, but it's all a part of the process as well. And I had to remind myself that. And like the advice that I give others, I always make sure that I'm applying it to myself and repeat it back to myself so that I can continue to be encouraged and motivated and not lose sight of the end goal and the ultimate vision. And just know that, this is all a part of the process, all a part of the journey to get to where I want to be, which is, to build longevity. And I just want to continue doing what I love, and in doing what I love, I want to be able to support the ones that I love and make an impact. So the end goal, when it's all said and done, when I feel like I've achieved what I wanted to do in terms of like touring or doing commercial work, is I want to bring it all back to the hometown, to Delaware.
Yes, sir.
Dance came so late in my life, and I'm so blessed to have done as much as I have and seen the place. Because there's people, I'm not dude that's been like, I've been dancing since I was 6 years old. I'm not that guy. I'm like, I didn't know I could dance until I got to college. And
see, and that goes to show, right? I'm actually glad you said that, because I think some brothers or some people may be under the impression that it's too late. Some people may be under the impression that it is too late. You know, you're living proof that it's not indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I guess, it was just, I just enjoyed it so much, and I was getting positive feedback when I was dancing. And, you know, I could always refine my skill. Like, I look back at videos and I'm like, I don't know why people thought I was good.
Right.
I look at that stuff now and I'm like, yeah, people really. I look at it, I'm like cringing. I'm like, ooh,
right.
People really liked me for doing that. Huh?
We ain't gonna talk about that though. What they say, die with your secret. In the performance world, they say, die with your secret, no doubt. Listen, my brother, this interview has been nothing short of inspirational and motivational for me personally. I know that brothers watching this are gonna take very good wisdom from your words. I appreciate your time, my bro. You're most definitely an upstanding Upsilon. And, you know, I respect you, my brother. I got a lot of brotherly love for you. And, you know, whatever I can do on my side to, you know, contribute to your success and your journey, you let me know. I'm here for you, bro.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you having me on your show as well. I like what you're doing with the brothers. Like you said, I hope, you know, whether it be my episode or the episodes that you've done prior to this and the episodes to come, I like what you're doing. And I hope whoever it is, the younger brothers, people that aren't brothers, that throughout these episodes, they get what they need. Whatever it is for 2020, whether it's clarity or whatever it is, I hope that what you're giving out to the people is something that can provide what they're looking for.
Yes, sir. Salute to you, my brother, Emmanuel Chacon from the Zawadi chapter. Reach out. He's on IG. Appreciate you, my bro.
Hey, thank you, man. You have a good one, bro.
You too, Pa. Peace.